Okay. Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon to all the mothers out there. Mothers all over the world, whatever your time zone is. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. And it's happy Wednesday to all of you. Today is another Wednesday and another episode of Mom Talks with Jade. Today we have a very special guest. And if you're watching us right now, please leave us a comment. And if you will be watching for the replay, leave us a comment also where you're from. And if you have questions, please let us know. And then we will get back to you later. Yes, our guest today is very special. This is the first time that we discuss about this topic. This topic is very, very important to all, not only for our kids. Mostly, we talk about the wellness and how to teach our kids and all about kids. But this time, we will talk about us also as parents, as mother, and as well as our kids. Okay, without much further ado, let's welcome our guest this afternoon. Hi, Elisha.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for that introduction. It's always one of my favorite topics to talk about. So, for those of you who don't know me or haven't heard about what I do, I'm Alicia Glambeth, and I'm the director and founder over at EHE Innovation. We provide mental health support and education for families. So, families can look like anything. So, whether you're a single mom or you're living at home with your parents, your children's grandparents, you have one kid, three kids, adopt children. We really choose not to define families in a narrow way. And mental health is for everyone. So whether you're living with experience within the mental health system or you're just curious about learning some tips for emotional wellness, I'm hoping you'll get a lot out of today's interview.
Yeah, especially there's days, right? That pandemic has really
Oh,
brought a lot of side effects to us, even adults. A lot
yeah.
of stresses and even domestic violence because it's so difficult to be in one house for a long period of time. I cannot get out, so our immune system, as well as our kids, also they are affected also because therapy is one of the therapies is going outside to the nature. And because of this pandemic, it gets
Mhm.
into our nerves, it gets into our mental health also. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I know that we have lots of stresses, right? So what are kind of mental difficulties or mental challenges that most of the parents and children are facing in the family?
Yeah. So the biggest one that is really the suppression of emotions is parents trying to hold it all together, the feeling and the need to be perfect, to not show that they're stressed or tired or angry or upset. And for the kids as well is when they see their parents holding it all in, they may feel inclined to do the same. And that actually leads for children, especially who aren't able to regulate their emotions and need a balance. Um, it leads to more behavioral challenges for them, increased anxiety all around for both the parent and the child. The really big thing right now is confusion, especially with back to school. It's this confused, overwhelmed state where fear is really arising, and we're really typically surrounded by that fear, whether it's on the news or going out in public or even on like small trips if we're getting essentials and things we need. That fear is all around for children, and as adults, we might be able to regulate that a bit better. But for children, they may need some more modeling and more examples as to how they can overcome fear and how they can create their positive emotions.
So basically, it's more on modeling, right? As parents, we have to model to our kids and be an example to them. So we have to give that to our kids. So if we do not have that, we cannot give what we do not have, right? So,
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to let your child know that, especially as moms who may be spending a little bit more time with the child or participating in some of those more intimate activities is letting them know that you're feeling stressed. Say, I'm feeling stressed right now and I'm working on it through this. Let them know what your coping skill is, because when they're feeling stressed, or talk to them about what stress looks like for you. If you get angry when you're stressed, you can say, I'm not angry with you, I'm feeling stressed right now, and I'm working on it. Mommy's going to go meditate, or I'm going to go on a walk. Would you like to come with me? All these things, like walking together, what you were saying about nature, is incredibly important. Having these moments where you talk about how you can get support from nature, and these are even things kids can do by themselves, especially going back to school on the playground, even if they need a break from some of that overwhelm, even teaching them that they can put their hands on the grass at school to feel connected with nature and use that as a grounding exercise for them. And if nature isn't something that's particularly accessible, having plants around the home and making that as part of your practice, growing flowers together, or even with fall, some of the more herbs like cress or like trying to think of it, or chives right now are incredibly big. I've had clients just put that in the pot with their child, and using that as like a little meditation aspect to start their day. So they have something to do together and a way to talk and communicate over nature. And I know that's not for everyone. Some people, it's hard to maintain a plant. Maybe they don't have time, they're busy. Another thing as parents and as families that we can do is sitting down with your child and building a social support network. So a
Yeah.
lot of parents might already have this in place. They might know who to call if they're experiencing a physical health issue or a mental health issue, or they have a concern at anything in their life. Maybe they have a close friend that they talk to if they're stressed about work or family life. Your child has those same concerns, although different. They might have concerns about school. They might have concerns about friendship. They might have concerns about feeling anxious, or even at this time, there's a huge amount of overwhelm. Having them sit down and help you build a social support network, you can even begin to ask them these questions. Who would you like to speak to if you're feeling anxious? Who can you talk to at school? And they might name or label a specific teacher or friend. If they're feeling sad, you can write down who would you like to talk to, and sometimes that might be a parent, it might be a grandparent, and having these resources in place and doing yours at the same time gives you both the information of who to go to, where to call, where you would like to be, even things like adding, when I'm sad, I like to be out in nature, or when I'm anxious, I prefer to sit in my room with my weighted blanket. Giving your child these options ahead of time really makes a lot of sense, because they're able to communicate with you. If your child is even nonverbal or has trouble expressing themselves, this can be a really great way to even do it with visual images too, so they're able to point to what they want in those situations. And you can give them options. That way, we're not all sitting around thinking, well, what does my child want and need? Because that's added stress on us as parents and caregivers
It's
too.
true, true. Speaking of nature, you have a very lovely nature in your background.
Thank you. Yeah, I like to work outside. I think it's incredible for clients as I'm seeing them. I have a
Yeah.
private space, so I'm very lucky.
So where are you in Canada?
Yeah, so I'm in Canada. I'm in Niagara Falls, Ontario, but I serve all over Canada, the US, and the UK, which I'm very fortunate to be able to
Wow.
do. Yeah.
Your foundation is EHE how do you say it? Sorry.
Sorry?
How do you say the name of your foundation?
It's EHE Innovation.
EAG. You are very young to be a founder of this foundation, educator, a speaker, an artist, and yeah,
Yeah.
an advocate. How did you come up with this, and what made you build this foundation to help people into about mental health?
Yeah, so I have a sibling with severe autism. He's nonverbal. So I grew up very much in the therapy field, helping him with generalization and different activities, learning different skills in order to support him. And
Mm,
as I went through school, I started to do cooperative education experiences, working with and teaching children, working with adults with multiple exceptionalities, seniors. So I got a whole range of experiences. I decided to do my degree in tourism and international hospitality management. Ended up working in nonprofit for a very long time through the Heart and Stroke Foundation, and which led me here. I decided to become a peer support worker, got all my training. I'm still always continuously learning as best practices consistently change, especially in the face of COVID-19. And
yes.
opened my business because I noticed all the services they were charging $100 an hour, $125 an hour
Mm,
Canadian. And I know in the US it's significantly higher as well in terms of accessing those services on an hourly rate. And I wanted to provide, I wanted to give back. I wanted to take everything I've learned in my training, working
yeah.
in nonprofit, and bring it to families specifically, because families are typically the ones who have the most diverse challenges and need
True.
the support to work collectively. There's a million relationships going on, whether it's um, child and grandparent, mother and the child's uncle, like
Mm.
sister-in-laws, brother-in-laws, addition to the family, death, loss, grief, divorce. There's so much that happens over the course of a family's lifespan, and I think it's so important we continuously tackle that.
Yes, during this pandemic, the divorce rate is a
Yeah,
lot higher than other crimes in the world, and so it just shows that a lot of stresses in the family is occurring during this pandemic. So, what are the problems mainly with the parents and how to deal with this? You've mentioned dealing with the stresses and to secure the mental health of our children, nature, and a support group. Uh, Obviously, support group is a little bit challenging during the pandemic
yeah,
period, right? Because you cannot meet other people. Otherwise, we can just do Zoom or we can just
exactly.
meet people digitally. But it's really different when you meet the people in person that you can really touch and use your five senses.
Yeah,
So it's a little bit challenge, but of course it's still possible farther, like a couple of meters away. So that's it, and nature and have support group, yeah, and showing to your child, modeling and those kind of stuff for your child. How about parents?
yeah. So with parents, the biggest thing that goes on is miscommunication. And the biggest thing is not having our own interpersonal effectiveness to ask for what we need. So I think the biggest thing that parents can do and parents can model, which begins in their relationship, is clearly asking for what they need and compromising. The big tool that I always showcase my clients is from a theory called dialectical behavioral therapy. It's
Mm,
called Dear Man, Give Fast. And this is like these guidelines for interpersonal effective communication, where it allows you to open and facilitate the discussion surrounding whatever it is you need and whatever you'd like to ask for, and allows you to come to the compromise that is relevant for you. And this also helps your children, because when the parents aren't fighting, when we're able to ask for what we need, the child is also better to ask for what they need as well. And of course, with COVID-19, I've seen a lot of relationships break down, unfortunately. And something that has always come out of it is a better understanding of ourselves. And that's the most important thing. Before we begin to put work into our relationship, the work we do on ourselves is incredibly important. So, seeking help individually or in a support group format, there still are ones going on. I've run a few throughout COVID-19 myself. And I think seeking help is the biggest thing that you can do and begin to discuss those feelings with your partner, with your child. Something I find that's been really effective is watching a Disney movie or a cartoon as a family. I had one family go as far as creating their own movie theater at home, and this gave them an opportunity to discuss some of the feelings that were portrayed in the movie. Because the expressions are so exaggerated, it gave
Yeah.
the parents an opportunity to say, when I feel like that, when I feel stressed, I look like that too. It makes me feel like I need to do this or I act in this way. And the child is very keen to respond because they're seeing their favorite characters doing it and we're normalizing it. We're normalizing that it's okay for the mom or the dad or grandma or the aunt to say, this is how I feel sometimes too, just like the character. And it creates this very normal experience, a very validating experience for the child and even for your partner too. Because sometimes things come up that you might say to your child that we might not say to our partner when we're trying to explain something. And obviously, we're not doing this to the child on a deep level. We're just relating it back to the character, but it might give your partner as well some insight as to how you're feeling. I've seen a lot of great experiences coming out of this bonding and connection. And movies are always really great for that, especially when we're going into colder weather, when it's starting to rain a bit more. It's great to have some family time in that sense where we can relate back to emotions.
Yeah, that's really, really true. It's somehow it is really difficult to communicate, right, with your partner, with your spouse, your feelings, and a lot of people that are introverted just keep themselves, right, their feelings, and it's really difficult to come out unless there is like a trigger for that feeling to be expressed. And yeah, I agree that movies really could be really a great tool, like cartoons or comedy. This
Yeah.
light-hearted, light-hearted movies, bonding, and it's fun, right? So I think family time is really, really important. Uh, Making this Facebook group also that could be an avenue to all the parents. Parents, if you're watching right now, when you are dealing with your emotions and you cannot really express your emotion to your partner, and you have to deal with your emotion by yourself, then and make friends with other members of this Facebook group, or to me, send message to me. I am really willing to listen. I created this Facebook group to help mothers mainly.
Yeah.
My passion is to help mothers. I am a digital entrepreneur. I help people start their own online business, and at the same time, helping other women to deal with everything, motherhood, teaching, and disciplining, and whatever about kids and motherhood. And it's really, really amazing that we have this community, and we have resource people like you, like Elisha. Do you know that the name of my baby is Elisha as well? Elisha
I did
Darren.
not.
He is a boy, but his name is Elisha Jared. A lot of people say, "Oh, Elisha, girl." So having that Jared,
Yeah.
him a boy, because
Yeah.
Elijah is the name from the Bible. That's what we took his
Yeah.
name from, and Elijah is the prophet in the Bible that made the most of the miracles. though he is not as famous as his mentor Elijah. But Elijah is a greatest name. That's what I believe because I researched that name before I gave to my son.
Yeah.
Many months before I gave birth to him. Elijah. Yeah, I really agree with that. So to wrap up, what are the if you have if you my son let's go back my son sometimes because he's 2 years old and he is showing these tantrums already. They said terrible twos.
Yeah.
It's true. They said it is not only terrible twos, terrible one, two, and three. And
Yeah.
so he's showing these tantrums sometimes. And what we do is we bring him to the nature. We bring him to the woods with with streams of water and all those nature. Yeah, that's what I really agree what you've said. But my husband said that can you ask her because
Yeah.
I talked to him about this
Yeah.
episode. Can you ask her how to deal with our kids that are showing tantrums already?
Yeah. So I just want to say tantrums at that age, absolutely normal and developmentally is right on track. And the reason why your child is might be showing tantrums is they may be struggling to communicate their needs or might feel if they tell you what's going on that they might not be listened to or validated. So what I would suggest, start by listening. Like ask them. Sometimes tantrums are because they're thinking, I don't want to talk about it. I just want it now. Typically the bottom line, depending on life situations and circumstances. But start by listening. Let them know that you're a safe person to talk to, that whatever they say, you'll understand, and you're willing to problem solve it together. Something I find really helpful is what we might always say, we might say no. And no could just mean not right now. So when a child hears that, they're thinking never. So if something is no in the moment, say it's a no right now, and where you're able to go to the park tomorrow at this time. And stay accountable to your promises that you make your child as well, because the next time you say no and explain that, they're going to be less likely to have a tantrum because they recognize that you're someone who emphasizes with them and you're willing to go there with them. You're willing to make a compromise and treat them as an adult, treat them how you would treat your partner or a friend. Problem solving is incredibly huge. Sitting down with them and whatever the problem is at the moment, talking to them about a solution, a compromise, and let them know that this is something that you're going to be doing, that they're not in trouble for having a tantrum. Because if they're feeling like they're in trouble for expressing their emotions, because that is just one of the many ways that they may express their emotions, it's not going to be healthier. It's not going to be healthy for them long term. So
Mm.
sitting down, talking to them about how they would like to see the problem solved, let them know what you would see the problem being solved as in your ideal situation, and talk about that middle ground. So if they're saying they're having a tantrum because they want a toy in the store, and on your side it's the toys too expensive right now, you can't afford it, or you left your wallet at home, or something like that is going on for you, you might say, we can't get this toy today. Let's figure out a time where you can get it, or talk to them about work or what's going on for you, obviously without creating stress or burden, letting them know that you don't have money for it right now, and explaining some of these concepts that are relevant to adults. Your 3-year-old is going to understand when it's at a level that's built for them. And normalizing the tantrum too, even saying, like, I get angry sometimes. This is what I do when I feel angry. This is what I do when I feel upset. And teaching them the coping skills that you might have. So whether you meditate or you go for a run and you connect with nature, let them know that that's your coping skill and that's the reason why you're doing it. And you can always reinforce good behavior. So the next time they're having they're thinking about having a tantrum and maybe they ask to go sit in their room with a blanket. You want to reinforce that and give them the opportunity to express their emotions in a way that's safe and healthy for them.
Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, his grandfather said that. Yeah, maybe because he throw tantrums. He's sleepy. That's why he's like this. He throw
Yeah.
tantrums because he cannot communicate. He is just 2 years old and he is quite smart,
Yeah.
and that's why he cannot say what he wants, and we need to always feed his intellectual aspect because he
Yeah.
is quite smart.
It's so important to feed the curiosity. Obviously, we can't feed it all the time, but making sure there's opportunities to let them know there's options. So if you had something planned for the next day, you know there's going to be free time, letting them choose what they want to do within reason. So if you had 3 options available and they pick, let's say it's option 2, go on a nature walk and explore by the water, something like that, and that's the option they chose, they know that's what they're going to be doing the next day. And you're going to be there by their side to empathize with their curiosity, answer their questions. Obviously, I've had 3-year-olds come up to me and talk to me all about manatees. And I love that. For me, I will help them learn everything they can about manatees because at that age, feeding their curiosity is so important. And it's definitely a reason why they might have tantrums. So treating them like an adult, or at least a few years older than they actually are, they
Yeah.
understand so much. And giving them that opportunity is important. They'll understand adult concepts like money, like time, like even healthy living aspects when you let them know what's actually going on and explain it to them in a way that they can understand and comprehend.
Wow, that's really, really helpful. Thank you so much.
Very welcome. This was a pleasure.
All the mothers out there, I believe that there are mothers that are like me. No, we know that we do not know sometimes of what we are doing with the kids,
Yeah,
right? With our children. And it's really, really helpful in safeguarding our mental health as parents so that we are healthy, mentally healthy for our kids and to deal with our kids as well and mental health of our kids. This is so much important. It is so precious, Elisha, what you have sharing with us. And maybe we have other mothers also audience that wants to get your services. How can they reach you and what are
yeah.
your services so that they can avail some of your services?
Definitely. So we have educational consults available. We actually do a free 15-minute call. So if you're just looking to get some of the information, I can post that link within this group for you. And you can access me through there. We can have a 15-minute chat. If you want to bring your child with you, you don't need to be in a place where you need to have a professional environment or it needs to be quiet. So if your child running around, we're always happy to accommodate that. We do individual one services for parents, helping them get back on track with their mental health, their mental wellness, and then as well doing consult for the whole family. So if you're dealing with either a new diagnosis, something like autism or ADHD, or childhood anxiety, we're happy to help serve you with those too. We do keep our rates low and cost effective because no one should have to lose out on mental health services because of a financial barrier. So I'm always happy to accommodate in any way I can. I think it's a good thing.
Thank you so much. I saw sometimes that there was one mother who were asking about, support. Thank you so much, Elisha, for your time, for your precious time. And guys, if you are interested and want to avail and needs help, let me know and you can reach me and I can bridge you to Elisha. Thank you so much, Elisha.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you once more. Thank you guys for watching with us. Please stay tuned for our next episode next Wednesday. Wednesday. Thank you so much, Elisha. God bless you, and see
Right,
you
you
next
too.
time
Thank you very
again.
much.
Bye, everybody.